Hey guys, it's Chey. Welcome to the channel if you are new, and if you're not, hey boo. Today's video is going to be a little bit differently. As you can tell, the ambiance is definitely a little bit different. I am filming at night. My daughter is out for summer break, so I kind of just gotta film around this time. If you guys are new here, I am definitely a neutral tone lover. Some of my friends jokingly call me the soft glam queen. I love a good neutral eyeshadow, and I was asked what my favorite eyeshadow palettes were. I think they asked like top 3 or top 5, which was extremely hard to do. So I wanted to give you guys a top 10 plus an honorable mention. For today's video, I made sure that all the palettes that I'm talking about you can actually purchase, okay? So if you guys like it here, if you are a neutral tone lover like me and you're curious to see if you guys are neutral tone lovers like me, then let's go ahead and get into my top 10 favorite neutral eyeshadow palettes. So I'm not going in any particular order. I will try to include some swatches. Most of these eyeshadow palettes have a mix of matte and shimmer because I am a shimmer girl, okay? I do have one palette that is all matte that I definitely think is worth your coin, but yeah, most of these are gonna have a mix of shimmer and matte. The first palette I feel like is a staple for everyone, and it is very affordable, and that is going to be the ColourPop Nude Mood eyeshadow palette. This is what it looks like, and honestly for me, the shimmers honestly have my heart. Now, when I'm using this palette, I do have to kind of go in with another palette just to add some depth, because this brown right here isn't as dark as I would like it, but I love the shimmers in this palette. The next palette that I absolutely adore is going to be the Natasha Denona Glam Face Palette. This palette comes with 5 eyeshadow palettes, a cream blush, and a highlighter. And these tones look so beautiful on my skin. I love that you do get some warm crease colors, and then you get a deep chocolate brown, and the shimmers in this palette are absolutely gorgeous. My favorite part of this is the shimmer, okay? I love to wear this one called Inner Corner. And what I love about this palette is that if you're not used to like doing eyeshadow, it pretty much tells you where each shade goes. So you get outer corner, transition, a smoky color, your crease, and your inner corner. So I love that. I absolutely love this warm like terracotta brown blush, and then of course this gorgeous highlighter. It is more on the champagne side, which is perfect. I feel like honestly like I could probably get rid of, well, let me pump the brakes on that, but this is definitely one of my favorite palettes to use. The next palette is definitely going to be an older launch, but this is from Artist Couture. This is the Supreme Nudes eyeshadow palette, and baby, this palette, these are what the tones look like. You get those mustardy yellows, you get those warm browns, you do get a pop of like green. You can create so many different eyeshadow looks, whether you're going for something smoky, bronzy, warm, neutral, matte, a little cool tone. I feel like this is where it's at, and I absolutely love the shades Transcend and Opulence in this palette. I know you guys are probably like, dang, it doesn't even look like you've touched that palette, but I promise you, like, when I really love a palette, I have to stop myself from using it because I have the fear of hitting pan and having to either repurchase it and it's not available, or just like, I don't know, I'm just scared to like hit pan. So I just kind of just rotate through my palettes. But definitely I will say my favorite shades from this palette is gonna be Eccentric, Opulence, Nudist, Aesthetic, and Mink. So pretty much like these warm tone browns I absolutely love. And if you guys don't have this palette, I definitely say it's a must. Like I said, this is an older palette, and Artist Couture is definitely known for the glow, whether it's from his highlighters or just like shimmery eyeshadows. This palette is definitely a staple in my collection. If you guys happen to hear any rumbling or any noise, I do have my 6-month-old puppy in the room with me. I actually have 3 of my dogs in the room here with me. So like I said, it's summer break, so bear with me. They kind of just like to be with me right now. So Nico is pretty much just throwing his toy all over the room. So if you guys happen to hear any noise, that's him. Leilani is also in the room next over to me, and I believe she's watching her iPad or TV. So if you hear any noise, that's literally Leilani and Nico. The next palette that I have is something that's a little bit newer to me. I want to say I got it maybe a year or 2 ago, and that is going to be from Melt Cosmetics. I've never owned anything from Melt, but when I saw this palette, I was like, absolutely yes. Okay, so this is the Dark Matter palette. Now, at first they came out with the stacks, but I really wasn't into that. So when they actually came out with a palette, this was literally calling my name. This is what the palette looks like. I love that you get some red tones, some smoky blacks, some neutrals, just different like warmer undertones. The shimmers in here are really, really gorgeous. I know you guys are probably going to hear me say that about all of these palettes, but that is something that stands out to me in a palette. The mattes in here are super buttery. They're pigmented. A little bit goes a long way for sure. They build up very nicely. This is perfect for a beginner. It is a little bit more on the pricey side, but I personally think it's well worth it because you get like this smoky blue black. You get more like cranberry shades. So for me, this is probably like more like of a fall time / everyday palette. So I personally love it. I love that you do get lighter nude shades at the bottom, and I like how they went from light to dark with this palette. The next palette that I had to include in here is a little bit different than the palettes you guys have seen. So this is going to be the Patrick Ta Major Dimension 2. I do have the Major Dimension 1, but for me, the 2, okay? These pinky cranberry tones are right up my alley, and literally, like I said, what? The shimmers are the star of this palette. Now, I will say the mattes go a lot darker on the eyes than what they look like in the pan. And I do like that you get 2 cream shadows here. Personally, I wish that they were just all matte, because once the creams like expire, you're basically gonna have to throw out this whole palette or scrape it out because mold will build up. So I'm not really a fan of the cream in here, but they're perfect for a base. That way you don't have to like get another product. This pretty much is an all-in-one palette. And when I'm feeling just like super girly, flirty, and I want to dive a little bit more into some pinky tones, this is the palette that I definitely gravitate towards. The next 2 palettes are very much similar, yet so different. We're gonna go ahead and start with this Beauty by Melissa palette. This is the Makeuplifebychey Nude Persuasion palette. This is a black owned brand, which I love, and Beauty by Melissa is a makeup artist and her looks are absolutely gorgeous. This is what her palette looks like. It's honestly so gorgeous, especially if you are a woman of color. As you can see, there are so many different shades of brown. What I love about this palette is that the shimmers are iridescent. So you can build it up to have like that almost like Makeup by Mario sophisticated glitter, but it is buildable. You can make it super opaque, or you can give it just like a light glitter on top. I love that this palette goes from light to dark. You have every color you could need. You get whites, beiges, mid-tone browns, yellowy browns. You do get that pop of pink that I think looks so good on melanin skin, just like this soft baby pink. You also get those more like really deep chocolatey browns right here, so I love that. She gives us a super matte black in this palette. Honestly, this palette is literally like any makeup artist's dream, especially if you're doing like bridal. This is such a beautiful palette. Out of this palette, I will definitely say these two shimmers are my favorite. It's called Skin Like Pearl and Cinnamon, but I love them all. This is such a well curated palette. I love just supporting other makeup artists and influencers, so I'm glad that I got my hands on this palette. The next palette is very similar but yet so different, and that's gonna be the Lunar Beauty Nude Prism. Now, off the rip, the packaging on this palette is absolutely breathtaking. I mean, come on, let's get into the packaging. The packaging is so gorgeous. I love the cherry blossoms and the moon. When you open it, you kind of get the same layout as the Beauty by Melissa palette. You get a row of shimmers, you get some transition shades and some deepening shades. To me, this palette is a lot different because on my skin tone, these shades definitely pull more pinky and plum, whereas the Nude Persuasion palette definitely pulls more brown. This definitely pulls more purpley. The shimmers in here are absolutely gorgeous. Now, these shimmers are more opaque, so if you didn't want to have to like build the shimmers up too much, like with the Nude Persuasion, this one is pretty almost like amped up. I would probably compare this most similarly to the Patrick Ta, but you do get a variety of shades. I love that they did the lighter pink tones to the darker pink, and then just like a gradient from like nude to black. And I love that they included like a light shimmer to like a more bronzy color. So if you guys really like golds and pinks, I feel like this is a palette definitely worth your investment. The formula on this is easy to blend, it's gorgeous, and I mean, clearly I love it or else it wouldn't be in this video. The next palette is similar to the Nude Prism. Oh my gosh. Nico, what are you doing? The next palette is very much in the same family as the Nude Prism and Patrick Ta palette, and that is going to be the Beauty Bay Rich palette. Now, if you guys are unfamiliar with Beauty Bay is a UK retailer, so that's pretty much where I go to get any of my UK makeup, like Doll Beauty, Made by Mitchell, they have Pink Honey, Beauty Crop, Makeup Revolution, or Revolution Beauty. This is the Beauty Bay makeup brand. This comes with 42 eyeshadows for like 20 bucks. So I mean, that is such a steal and you can't beat that. If you really love warm tones, this palette is definitely for you. Now, this one is definitely more purpley, pinky, and you get those burnt oranges and reds. It's so gorgeous. And I love that they have different textures of shimmer. They have more metallic, they have like standard shimmers. And I mean, for the price, for $20, 42 eyeshadows, come on now. And it's so pigmented. And that's what I love about this palette. It's affordable, you get depth, you get range. You can go purpley, you can go brown, you can go peachy. There's so many different ways you could go with this. And the shimmers are so beautiful too. You get those nudie colors, pinky colors, bronzy, you get the red, cranberry. To me, this is the epitome of fall in a palette. And it's absolutely so gorgeous. So if you're a baddie on a budget, or you're just not looking to spend a lot of money on an eyeshadow palette and you want some range and depth, I would definitely check out Beauty Bay. The next two palettes are from Be Perfect Cosmetics. I'm no stranger to Be Perfect Cosmetics. I think my first purchase was the Clientele palette with the makeup artist Jaw. So in my opinion, I know a lot of people love all matte palettes and they really love the Makeup by Mario or the Patrick Ta all matte palettes, but in my opinion, for my skin complexion, those palettes definitely pull more cool tone on me. It's not really neutral, but this palette, this Be Perfect Ultimattes palette, literally if I just need to keep one palette full of mattes, this is the one that I would use. You can create any eye look with it. It is all matte, so if you like shimmer like I do, you'll have to use like another palette or a single shimmer. As you can tell, this is very much loved. I love that it goes from dark to light. What I love about the Be Perfect palettes are they're super pigmented, really pigmented. They show up true to color, they pack a punch, and I love that the names on the back correspond with the palette, so you don't have to like look and see which one. It is literally in order. It's not backwards or flipped. And I just love these tones. You get warm, yellow, neutral, chocolate, literally. It's so beautiful. It definitely reminds me of like coffee. This is the perfect palette to put in your makeup kit or just to have in your collection because the shades in this palette really do show up true to color. The next Be Perfect palette I have, I would say I'm biased because I actually won this in a giveaway from my bestie. Now, when I entered the giveaway, we were not friends at the time. Winning this palette definitely holds a special place in my heart. At the time, I didn't have the funds to order this palette. And I was going through like a really like depression after having a miscarriage. So this one really means a lot to me. And that is gonna be the Be Perfect Antidote palette. Now, if you're looking for something that's not just plain boring browns, but you want to switch it up, this is the palette for you, okay? When you think of fall, what colors do you think of? For me personally, I think of oranges, greens, browns, and I feel like this palette definitely is the epitome of fall. This is what it looks like. You get reds, yellows, orange, neutral browns, greens, olives, neon greens. Like there's so many different colorways that you can use with this palette, and the shimmers in here are absolutely stunning. Now this is a bigger palette, so if you're really not into big palettes, then maybe this isn't for you, but I promise you like this will be the only palette that you need. And last but not least, we're going out with a bang, and that is going to be the P. Louise Wedding Wish XL palette. And this palette is literally ginormous. It is very curated. It's super stunning. The formula of the mattes, the shimmers, I literally have no complaints about this palette at all. If you have clients that are looking for like really stunning shimmers to really pop off, I would personally grab this palette over any of the other ones. As you can see, the color range on here is absolutely gorgeous. You get pinky tones, more muted browns, purpley browns, chocolate browns, beiges, and then you get corresponding shimmers. I personally wish there was a little bit more shimmers in here, but I love that you get so many different mattes to really build up an eye look. P. Louise has dropped an even bigger version of this. It's already pretty big, but they came out with a 3-page like this size of the Wedding Wish palette, and that is going to be the XXXL palette. I'm low-key eyeing it just because you get like a whole row of cream, you get a whole like palette of mattes, and then a whole palette of shimmers. For me personally, I absolutely love the P. Louise shimmer formula. I will say when I use this palette, some of my looks can come out more purpley on me, not really super neutral tone, but the shimmers saved the day for me. This palette is literally perfect for all skin tones, and you can go so smoky. The shimmers are incredible, absolutely gorgeous. Those are my favorite neutral eyeshadow palettes. Let me know if you guys are interested in a part 2 where I show my limited edition neutral palettes that I love. That pretty much wraps up today's video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.